Are you ready to put together another iCraft kit? I am. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is my weekly vlog for, well, number 121 for Monday, June the 24th, 2019. I hope everybody had a great weekend, and I hope you have a good week coming up. So let's get right into things. You can see behind me, as I take a sip of coffee, my latest quilt. And this is a big one, and it's not all fitting into the frame of the camera at the moment, but this is called the Bursting Star design. So if I sort of lift it up down here, you can see this darker sort of star, and the other colors radiate out from it. This is an Angela Walters design. It was a free download pattern, and it's made with actually what they call charm packs, and charm packs are basically 5-inch squares plus background fabric. And then I did a double border right here. You can see I have a white border, so it sort of floats into this, and then this gradient fabric as well. So all that needs to be done on this quilt now is to take it off to the long armor and quilt it. And I'm not having them do it, I will do it, and we'll talk more about my long arming class that I took last week, Walter and I took, in a few minutes. My other project that I just finished, actually this is going to be part of a bigger project, but this is my first attempt at applique. Now, I'm on the Idiot Quilter. I did show you these patterns that I bought when we were in Australia a few months ago, and they were really cute. I got 3 of them. Actually, now I wish I kind of bought more of them. Maybe I can order them online. I have to check that out. But anyways, these are applique using, with the exception of the background fabric, the fabrics in the actual applique are Australian fabrics. So they had that indigenous design. And yeah, this is the first time I've ever done applique. People have told me that once you do applique, you're going to love it. And they're right. I do kind of love it. And I'm very proud of myself that I was able to do this on my first attempt. So this will become part of a larger quilt eventually, made with Australian fabrics, an Australian quilt. Well, I call it an Australian quilt. But that's going to be a bit. I haven't started that. That's the first thing I've done. And as I said, I have 2 more of those to go, a kookaburra and a lizard. And I'm going to probably use those as design them so that they're sort of this focal point of the quilt. But that's to be seen. I haven't got to that, and it may be a while yet before I get there. I have a few other projects I have to finish up, like this sucker back here. Okay, so that's what I've been up to this week. So let's move right into the YouTube channel of the week. This week's YouTube channel is called Just Get It Done. Now, this is a sewing and quilting site, but what makes it somewhat unique for me anyways is that it's one that's done by a lady who lives in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So she's a local girl in some ways, although I've never met her. This is a really great site with a lot of tips and tricks and strategies, as she says in the title, for getting your fabric organized, to getting your quilt tops done, to just storage everything. She has a great little mini course that's free in her YouTube channel on color theory, which is really great for not just quilters, but I think would be really great for people into mixed media and scrapbooking as well. So if you want something a little different, it's well done, it's a little bit quirky, but very professional, check out Just Get It Done Quilts. So the link for the YouTube channel of the week is listed in the notes below, as is Stephen and Walter Live. This week for Stephen and Walter Live, if you didn't catch it when we actually did it, of course you can catch the replay, we were outside. Well, outside as in we were in our patio area, which we have designed to be an enclosed area underneath our deck. Our deck comes out from our kitchen, which we live in a raised bungalow, so our kitchen's actually the 2nd floor. So when you walk out from our rec room, you walk into our patio area, and that's where we have our hot tub and that kind of stuff. And of course, you'll see the Pride flag in our background because it was Pride Parade. Well, it's been Pride Month for June, but it was Pride Parade in Toronto yesterday. We don't go anymore because it's just a zoo. There's like over 2 million people come out for this, and it's just packed wall to wall. We used to go years ago and we enjoyed ourselves, but each year it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I don't like crowds particularly, and I especially don't like crowds when I'm, like this in the crowd. So we did not go. We watched excerpts of it on TV and on the news and that kind of thing. It's basically same old, same old. You've got your floats, you've got your half naked looking good men, you've got your half naked women, things like that. You've got people in wild costumes. I mean, it is quite the thing to see. However, it's just far too many people at that to make it really enjoyable, at least for me. Some people love crowds, so they be in their perfect element. So we did it underneath the patio. I digress. And this week's topic was ageism, and we had a really good discussion with everybody that chimed in with their opinions on various things we talked about. And we really appreciate that people are getting more involved in the live. And it is a safe space. And what I mean by that is no one's going to cut your throat for whatever you say. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, as long as you voice it in a civilized manner, of course. Excuse me, still have this cough. Don't know what it is. But anyways, it's really nice to see that our new format, such as it is encouraging more discussion. So next week's topic, I think, is going to be one about travel, based on our personal experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly of travel. And we'll probably throw in a little bit of the gay element as well, because traveling as a gay couple in other parts of the world is actually, well, it's a little different than being a straight couple, okay? Depending on what countries you go to. So we'll talk a little bit about that and our experiences when we've traveled. And I hope everybody else will contribute their adventure stories as well. So that's next Sunday. Now, next weekend is the July 1st weekend. But we will be on. July 1st weekend is like our Independence Day. I hate to use it. I hate to compare it to something that's American. But everybody in the world knows what Independence Day is. I don't know if a lot of people outside of our own country, including the United States, know what Canada Day is. It used to be called Dominion Day, but it's now Canada Day, and it's basically, it's our birthday of our country, the founding of our country. Excuse me. I have to have a little sip here. So anyways, so that makes next weekend a long weekend, but Sunday we will be doing the broadcast at the usual time, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hope to see you there, and feel free to join in on the conversation. And what else is in the notes below? Yes, the book of the week is down there as well. And now there's something you're going to find down there called Bland Designs Blog. I'm going to explain that in a couple of minutes to you, because yes, it has something to do with my ongoing adventures with Facebook that we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks. But we'll come to that in a moment. And we're at that moment. What's pissing me off this week? Again, Facebook. This time I really have had it with Facebook. Okay? I thought everything was up and running fine, and it was for a week, and then lo and behold, yesterday, again, I'm coughing. Yesterday, same thing again. My account has been disabled. Now this time, when I reestablished it, I had put in all the recommended security measures for retrieving your account. None of them work. That is just a load of bull on Facebook's part. I don't know what's going on. Walter and I have thought about this and looked at various details surrounding this, and we have come to the conclusion that it's not that I've been actually hacked, but that there's a problem with the Facebook system. The reason I say that is the person who has changed my account name did it before as well. I actually looked this person up. This person has either a Vietnamese or a Korean name or something like that. I just plugged their name into Google, and lo and behold, I found their Facebook page. I found pictures of them, and quite honestly, this person looks like just like anybody else. Doesn't look like a hacker. I don't know if there is a look for a hacker, but doesn't look like they're doing anything evil. Walter thinks, coming from an IT background, that there's something called a memory leak, a problem in the programming, which for some reason is causing me grief. Now, he was going to research for me other people that have had this problem and see what we come up with. But I'm beginning to think now that I haven't actually been hacked. It is something different from being hacked. It is actually a problem in Facebook. And believe it or not, what I'm pissed off about is I'm always the one that runs into these things. I am always the guy who gets screwed around, okay? I'll give you an example. On more than one occasion, we've been out for dinner and I haven't gotten served. And yet everybody else at the table got theirs. That's happened to me on more than one occasion. If there's something in a store that everybody's raving about, you decide to buy it, I'm the one who gets the lemon, the one and only lemon. If someone's going to screw around with my accounts for utilities or things like that, it'll be me. I'm the one that will get that. I just attract, evil. I don't know why, but it's always seems to happen to me. So this isn't anything unusual with Facebook. I guess it was just time for it. But I am done with Facebook. Okay, I'm a little sad about that because I don't really care, as I've said before, about people posting all the time about where they've been, where they're going, what they're eating, what they're doing. I'm not that interested. But the one thing is there was a couple of groups that I belonged to on there. And now I don't have access to those groups. Well, I can get into them through Walter. But that's kind of an inconvenience. So I guess I just have to do something else. And I have decided to do something else. So that's what I'm pissed off about, is this whole ongoing affair that I've been having with Facebook. It's just crap. And quite frankly, I hope someday that Facebook fails. What I mean by that is I hope they're taking down the tubes. It was a good idea when it was created. It's just now gotten too big for its britches. And it's just, not only am I having problems with it, but lots of other people have problems with Facebook too. And let's just not forget about the bombardment of advertisements on Facebook. I was okay until I started the broadcast here, and now I'm choking up. Give me just a minute. Okay, I'm back. I don't know what it is. I've had this cough for over a month. I thought it might be allergies, although I really don't have allergies. Well, I shouldn't say that. It might be. But this usually hits me at night more so than during the day. And it's just this tickle in the top of my lungs, in my throat, and I don't know what it is. Well, I go see the doctor in another couple of weeks or so just for usual checkup. So maybe I'll mention it to the doctor. Maybe it's a reaction to the blood pressure pills that she's put me on. I don't know. But anyways, I digress. Back to Facebook. They suck. Okay. It's the advertising on Facebook. You're constantly bombarded with this. And you can't tell me that Facebook doesn't sell their information they have on you to third-party advertisers. Because I get stuff all the time. Again, Walter says, why is it that you get all these hackers and advertisements? He never gets them. Just my luck. Just the way I am, I guess. But anyways, you don't need Facebook. And you want to know something? I think in a few years' time, Facebook will no longer exist. Young people aren't going on Facebook. They're on Instagram, I guess. I refuse to get involved with another one of these types of sites. So I'm not going there. Maybe I sound like an old fart, like yesterday's whole conversation about ageism on Stephen and Walter Live. Maybe I am an old fart. But do I need the aggravation? No. I don't. So, as I said, what makes me disappointed about Facebook is I did have a couple of groups I kept in touch with on Facebook. Now I really am not in touch with them. Also, I did use Facebook occasionally to post things about my quilts and stuff like that. So, I remembered yesterday that I'm choking up again. So sorry. Quite a few years ago now, around 2013, I think, I established a blog. It was right after I retired. And I thought I would do this crafting blog, put in pictures of what I was working on and talk about them. I got bored with that. I'd much rather do this kind of presentation than do one where I have to write, which is kind of ironic considering I was an English teacher and I have an English degree. But anyways, I went and found that blog. It's still active. Hasn't had anything in it since 2015, so 4 years. So I've rejuvenated it. And that's where I'm going to post, pictures of my projects I'm working on, maybe some other little rants or discussion points or things like that. I'll just post them on there when they come along, when they come to mind. I have put a link to my blog in the show notes, and it's the one that says designsbybland.blogspot.com. And so go ahead, check it out. You can leave comments there. The reason why I didn't keep up the blog before was because I wasn't that active on YouTube, so really nobody knew that I had it out there. So I didn't get a lot of, two-way conversations going on it. I think now that might be different since I'm established here on YouTube, such as it is. And so maybe this will be another forum where people that I see on a regular basis or hear from on a regular basis on YouTube might want to go there. So we'll see. I'll give it a try for a while. So if you're curious about it or whatever, the link is below. Pop on, see what you think. That's my personal Facebook. Let's call it that. Okay? All right. So moving on. Book reviews. This is an old one. Might be difficult to get. But I'm talking about this one because this was a technique that was all the rage for a very short time back 10 years ago. Maybe even longer than that. And it's using something called slide mounts. Back in the day when people used to use 35mm cameras and take slides and put them in the little projector and show them, I was a biggie for that. We've got boxes of slides that we used to take when we both had 35mm cameras, because that was the thing in those days. Excuse me again. So in this book, it shows you how to use slide mounts, empty slide mounts, for decorative purposes on your, primarily scrapbook pages, but I am sure these ideas are very adaptable to other art forms, as in card making, art journaling, mixed media pieces. I have boxes of these blank slides that I bought and stored up at the time because they were such the rage, but it's something that didn't last long, and I think after a while it's just everybody was doing it and it was no longer unique. Which means that what's old is new again, because this is something I haven't seen anybody talking about for a long time. So now, can you get slide mounts anymore? Not really sure, but I know you can get dies or like electronic cutter files that will cut them out for you. But this book has some really interesting ideas. So this is more of an inspiration than a how-to book as far as I'm concerned. It is a how-to book, but I'm looking at it from the point of view of giving you ideas of what you can do that might be a little different on your in your crafts. Now, cost. What did I pay for it? No idea. I'm looking on the back. Oh yes, and what's the full title of it? It's called Getting Dressy with Slide Mounts. Oh, there's the price tag right there. I paid $15.59 for it, and as I said, I bought this 12 or 15 years ago, probably. So I looked it up, and I did find it. You can't get it on Amazon, at least I didn't find it there, but I found a website called pageeditions.com. And you can pick it up there for $9.95 US. I'm not sure what they charge you for shipping. But I did put a link to that in the show notes. So if you're interested, you can check it out. You might find it on eBay. It is by the company Pinecone Press. However, I mentioned some other products from Pinecone Press a couple of weeks ago, and I went to their website, which is, and I think it's on the back here, yeah, pineconepressbooks.com, and I'm not really having any luck finding books on there. They have other things. The company still exists, but books don't seem to be one of their items anymore. But maybe I didn't look in the right spot. I don't know. But anyways, if you're interested, I have a link for this one link anyways, where you can find it. I am sorry today about this. I don't know why I'm coughing so much right now. Okay, so that takes us to works in progress. And we just finished up last week the iCraft explosion box. And now I've started a new series. And today I have the first part of that series, and it's making this, the iCraft box scrapbook. And these are really kind of cute. So in today's segment, I show you what you get in the package and how to put it together. So today I'm going to put together another iCraft kit. This one's called the Box Scrapbook. And just like the other kits, you have a picture on the outside of what this might look like. And on the back, you have the dimensions of each piece, which, quite frankly, I find almost useless. Now, in this particular kit, it did not come with instructions. Some of them do, some of them don't. But what it does come with is the ability to create 3 of these scrapbook boxes. One of them in black, one in craft, and one in white. So I did go to the iCraft YouTube channel, and I did watch the tutorial on how to put this box together. The tutorial does give you some idea, however, I do find it a little bit confusing. So I'm glad they gave me 3 of these in a kit, because I was able to experiment on a couple of them, and I'm going to put one of them together for you and show you how to do this. And this is my method for putting it together, and it slightly varies from what the iCraft people show on their YouTube channel. I think mine might make it a little bit easier. I hope. So, as I said, in the kit you get 3 colors. You get black, you get white, and you get craft. Now the craft one I haven't put together yet, but these 2 I have. So I'll just show you what they look like when you open them up, and then we'll come back to the craft one and I'll show you step by step how to put it together. And let's, for the sake of visibility on the camera, use the black one. Now, of course, right now, the one thing I have found with most of their kits is when you have them finished, they don't actually stay closed. It takes some time for them to get sort of melded into their shape. Now, what I'll do off camera before I decorate this is I will put a couple of elastic bands around, across it and down, and that seems to help keep it in shape. Also, I will have to design some sort of enclosure for this, and I'm thinking right now, as much as I'd like to put a magnetic closure on this flap, and I might do that yet, I still think it's going to need something that goes around the box to hold the sides together, probably a ribbon. But we'll worry about that when we get to that stage. So let me show you what it looks like when it opens up. So it is called a box scrapbook. So of course, here's your outside cover, and it folds out like this. And you see, right off the bat, you have a lot of real estate happening in this. And when we come to decorating it, this will be a little bit clearer. One thing I want you to notice is on this flap on the front, and you'll see these on the inside, and I'll point them out in a minute. I don't know if this is showing up. There's a hole. I have no idea what this is for. Is it for a clasp to go through, but they didn't put a matching one up there? You could cut it through. You could do some sort of a clasp in there. But I'm really not sure what the hole's for. So ignore it, unless you can think of a way to use it. So basically it opens up, just like this. Another one here, and these, and these, and then you have these fold-out pieces. Again, you can see they have the little holes in here. Now I may have put this on upside down. Maybe I should have flipped it over so those holes are the same way, because if they were, I suppose you might be able to rig up some sort of ribbon to hold it closed. I don't know. I guess that's left to your creativity. And these flaps that are in here as well have these little holes too, but they're useless because they get glued down. So we'll talk a little bit more about how to glue these down in a second. But essentially, you can see you have the base here for a cute little boxed scrapbook, a scrapbook that comes in its own little box. And essentially, let's let me get the flaps together here. You have a lot of real estate on this for pictures or whatever. That's an outside flap. I think this is an inside. It takes a minute to figure this out. I don't know if there is a right or wrong way to fold this up. Whatever works for you. That works for me. So there we have it. So it is kind of cute. And like I said, in the kit you get 3 of these. So that's not bad. I paid $10.99 Canadian for this kit at my local scrapbooking store. So that's a pretty good deal. So what I've done is I've taken the craft pieces and I've actually organized them by the side, by the width of their spines. And she does, the woman who does the iCraft videos, does recommend this. So the first thing you want to do when you take it out of the package is organize each of these pieces. Now this piece with the funny curved top, I'm going to call this base piece, and I put the number 1 on here. I don't know if you can see that. I just did it in pencil. I'm going to be covering this up later anyways. But I found that if I numbered them first, it did help with the assembly, getting them in the correct order. Now, she talks about the spine, and it's this wide piece, especially on this base piece, you see. So if this was one piece, and you're folding it up like that, that would be your spine. And that's 1.5 inches in size. And that's the largest spine in this set. Keep that in mind because that's important in the assembly. Then you need to organize your pieces according to spine size. So that's 1.5 inches. Your next spine size is, oh, there's another one that's 1.5 inches. Okay, so this one's 1.5. So let's just set those all aside according to the spine size. So I'm talking about this piece between the 2 score lines. Okay, folds up like that. Okay, so those are both 1.5 inches. The next one down is oh, that's another one. That's 1.5 inch too. Okay, you can see why. I'll come to the numbering in a second, but I'm just organizing by spine. So those ones, all the spines on these pieces are 1.5 inches. Then we come down to 1 inch. And there are 3 1-inch spines. Again, this area in here. So 1, 2, 3. Now you'll notice that 2 of these are the same size and one is slightly smaller, and that's important. So we'll set those aside. Then the next spine size is 1/2 inch. And we have 3 pieces that have 1/2 inch spines. But you see 2 of them are very much the same. And this one's a little shorter piece. So we'll set those aside. So essentially we have 3 groupings according to their spines. 1.5 inches, 1 inch, 1/2 inch. Okay, let's just set these aside for a second. Now, this is our base piece. We start with that. So then we're going to go to our other 2 pieces that have the same spine width, 1.5 inches. And I've numbered the longer of the 2 as the number 2, and the other one as 3. And this is essentially where they're going to go. They're going to go on either side here. Now, it doesn't matter whether this is at the top or at the bottom, but I'm using this for my orientation, putting the one with the hole in the top at the top of my production here. I've already put my 2-sided tape on all the pieces. So you flip them over, and on this piece on the edge, not on the spine, but on this other little piece that comes out from that, you put your two-sided tape. Now you can use wet glue if you wish. It'll give you a little bit more wiggle room, but I prefer double-sided tape. And I didn't have double-sided tape that's wide enough to cover 1.5 inches, so I just used 1/2 inch and I used 1/4 inch and put 2 pieces down. And so I've done this on all of my pieces, as you can see. They're all done. And now, and I've also varnished them. I used my bone folder to give them a good varnish to make sure they're sticking down. And now we can put the pieces together. Now, I have numbered all the pieces. So let's, before I start sticking it down, show you. So you're basically going from largest spine to smallest spine. And you're almost going around in a circle. So this is piece 1. This will be piece 2. Piece 3. Now we move into, those are the 1.5 inch spines. Now we're moving into the 1 inch spines. So we have 4, 5, 6, and then we go to 7, which is the next 3 pieces, which have 1/2 inch spines. So 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that's essentially how we're going to go around this. So just let me put those all back. And so in a sense, once you get going, it goes fairly fast. There's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. Okay. So let's just start here. I'm just going to flatten this out a little bit by folding the creases back over. And you'll want to fold the creases or score lines as soon as you get it out of the package before you do anything else. Or you could put your tape on and then score it, up to you. The more you score it, the better things are going to fit together. Okay, so we're going to take the tape off of piece number 2, the protective tape. And the best way to do this, I find, is I just turn it this way and I just fold that flap under so the sticky side is here. And I'm just going to line it up between these 2 inner score lines that mark the beginnings of the spine on either side of the base piece. And just eyeball it to center it between those lines, but get it close to the edge without going over of the base. Give it a good varnishing. And then I'm just going to flip this around, and I'm going to take piece number 3, and I'm going to do the same thing. So let's take our tape off. Let's just fold that under. And the same thing, I'm just eyeballing it, trying to keep it centered with the other piece I put on, as well as between the 2 score lines. If you're off a little bit, it's not going to really make any difference. Okay, so here we have base piece, piece 2, piece 3. Now we're going to put on piece 4. Now I've been working with 2 and 3 are both 1.5 inches in size. Now we're working with piece 4, and let me check my model to make sure I'm getting all of these in the right spot. I pre-did this with the white one and wrote the numbers on it so I wouldn't screw up. The more times you do it, the easier it's going to get. Yes, that's where the 4 goes. Okay, so 4 is going, so I've gone 1, 2, 3, piece 4. And now I'm working with the 1 inch spines. So let's take our tape off. Now this is one of these pieces that has the little cutout rectangle, which I have no idea. She never spoke of these at all in the video. There's on the back of the package, they don't even show those holes cut in. So I suspect that they may have had a purpose when they first designed this kit, but then decided not to use these, but they never adjusted their machine that cuts this. So again, I'm just going to fold it over. I'm going to turn this orientation this way. Now this is going to go inwards. So I'm lining it up with the score line. And this one you will be able to center it very easily on the score lines on the other sides as well as the bottom. So you can see when you get this tape down, you have this hole right here that is of no purpose whatsoever. Now I could have put the tape all the way across, for example. I'll show you here in another piece. See, there's my hole, but I put the tape on either side of it. I didn't want to go into the hole because then I'll have sticky stuff hanging out from the hole and these pieces would stick to that. So I didn't do that. So there we have base 1, piece 2, piece 3, piece 4. So piece 5 is also a 1-inch spine, and it's going to go right here on top of piece 2. And again, let me double check. And I am correct. Okay, I'm using the white one as my reference because I've already worked this out, but I just want to make sure because this is only the third one that I've made. So we're taking off our backing tape. And again, I'm just going to orient this so I can see the edge. And I'm lining it up with the first score line on the base piece. And down it goes. And varnished. Now we come to piece 6. It still has a 1-inch spine. Still working on the 1-inch spines. And it's going to go right here. So you see, I'm doing this in sort of a clockwise fashion, which is not what she showed in the video. I suppose you could put these in any order you wish, but you do have to have the spines descending in size. So you start with the widest spine out here, you're moving down to the smallest spines, because if you don't, then it's not going to close properly. Okay, let's flip this around. This is piece 7, so we're going to piece 7 here, so we're going to put that on top of piece 3. Again, we have a piece here with one of those little holes that we have no idea what those are for. If anybody's got any ideas, you can write me a comment below. Line it up. And you can see this goes together fairly quickly. Now, let's just orient it back here to the top. And let's just review. Base 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we come to piece 8, and that's one of these big pieces. And piece 8 is going to go at the top here, and piece 9 is going to go at the bottom here. So I've got my tape ready to go. I'm just going to orient it. Again, make sure you put your pieces on the inside, not the outside of the base. And let's flip it around. And the last piece, which is piece 9. And there we have it. So let's, I always use the piece that's got the little cutout as my orientation piece. I'm going to put that down towards the bottom. Now, to fold it together. Okay, you take these long pieces and it goes in, and you fold it sort of well, not that way. Okay, let me get this right. This way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Well, you could do it that way. It doesn't really matter. If you don't like these holes, I think I'll be covering these up anyways, but let's do it the way they did it, so I need to go That's not it. Okay. I'm having a little trouble here. Let me just get this right. Okay. That one that way. That way. Okay. It doesn't really matter, but it's got to get inside here. Okay. So as you see here, you have a little bit of a spine. Essentially, this is sort of like a little booklet within the box. Okay. So we can get this one. Oops. Okay, so I solved my own problem with the little hole thing. On the other boxes, I had those on the outside. I have these on the inside. Since I'm going to cover them up, it doesn't really matter. Now, there may be a little overlap here, and that is fine. So, next comes flap. Okay, 7 isn't, you do have to do a little bit of manipulation here. This is where your bone folder comes in really handy. I don't know what I did here, but I must have got it off a little bit. I ended up overlapping one of the other score lines, and so this isn't folding neatly, but I'm making it work. When in doubt, fudge it. Okay, so that flap is narrower than this flap, so flap 7 in first. Then 8 and 9. And then let's do 3, 5, 4, 6. Really, it's up to you. Oops. I think I'll leave that one out. That one goes in. That one will go in. You got to play with it, people. This one goes in. This one goes over. And you can decide whether you want the fancy piece on the outside, like that. What I mean by that is a little curve, probably. I think it's cuter with that on the outside, but there you go. So we've got our box all together. Now, as I said, I'm going to put some rubber bands around this. Let me show you what I mean. I have a couple of rubber bands right here, and because it wants to keep opening up, I'm just going to put these rubber bands and I'm just going to let it sit for a day with those around it, and that may shape it in a little better. Okay, so as I said, you get 3 of these. Let's just fold these in. You can see here how I got these kind of screwed around, but again, I'm going to cover those up so that doesn't bother me. Four, 5, let's put 6, that in there, that one in there, that in there. That one in there, that one in there. Okay, there we go. So you get 3 of these boxes for a fairly reasonable price. And once you've got one together, it's not too hard to put the other 2 together. So I hope this helps you with this. And in our next segment, we're going to talk about doing the basic decorating of each of the pages in terms of getting down some background paper. So next week, we will start the decorating. We're using background papers, and I haven't decided yet what theme I might use on these boxes, but we'll see. So that'll be for next week. Okay, so that takes us to events in the past week. Update on my mother, she's fine. We're waiting for her teeth to come in. It sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? But we are. And she's okay, I guess. Tried to call her yesterday, she didn't answer the phone, so she's either gallivanting all over the nursing home, having a good time, I wish, or the phone was 2 inches away from her hand and she couldn't reach it. Because she does that sometimes too. Oh, I just couldn't reach the phone. Bend. One word. Bend. I don't know. Whatever. Long arm class. Yes, we took our first long arm class. And does it make me want to go out and buy a long arm? Well, yeah, but not yet. It's just way too much money and it takes up way too much space. And neither of the two do we have enough of. So I'll just rent it. And we learned how to do what's called pantographs. Pantographs, yes. Which are basically a design you trace. You follow it with a laser light and the machine does the quilting as you do that. So it's not free motion quilting, but it's probably the next best thing to it, especially when you're just learning. Now, the lady who taught us this, she's the owner of, okay, I want to get the name of this place right. Whirls and Twirls. Yes, I think that's it. She actually has a YouTube channel. You can look that up. And she's showing you how to do free motion with a long arm, different patterns and things. She's an excellent teacher. I learned a lot. And did I retain it all? No. But that's okay because she supplied us with a little booklet that I printed it all out. And it's all full color pictures of each step you need for, mounting your quilt onto the frame and everything for the long arm. And she's always there to help you out too. So tomorrow, Tuesday, I have made an appointment to go over there and to quilt the black and white quilt that I showed you before, the dynamic duo or Roman tile, whichever name you prefer for it. It's a queen size quilt. I've got the backing material and everything, so I'm going over there and I'm going to quilt it using this one of the pantographs. I want to call them pentagons, but no, pantographs. Yeah, rented lips. And I'm going to do other quilts on that too. Now, while we were there, she was talking about a class that she holds. It's actually a 2-day class. She calls it boot camp, and it's on free motion using the long arm. And we signed up for it. It's expensive. It doesn't happen until September. It's 2 days, fairly intensive, includes lunch. And when I say expensive, it's $425 each for that. But we're paid up for it. We're booked in. I hesitated at first when I heard the cost, but it is 2 days. And she says all kinds of hands-on time. And I figured if you're really going to get into this, then you got to do some investing into it. So we're invested in it. And in September, we're going to that class. And I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun. Okay. I got my iPhone fixed. Last week I showed you that I had a bulge. Well, guess what that bulge was from? Apparently, the battery in it was swelling. Yes. Have you ever heard of such a thing? I never had. Apparently, this is not an uncommon problem. It's happened to other iPhones, although the technician at Apple Store said she had never seen this with an iPhone 10. But I guess the lithium batteries or whatever's in them, they can get overheated or something, and then they swell up, and as they get a little bigger, they press up the screen, and that's why I had the bulge. So they gave me a brand new phone, got it all set up. I have to say, yeah, now my nose is running. I mean, could it be any worse? I'm a mess today. Anyways, Apple is extremely good when it comes to the service in their Apple Store. Very efficient. And we had extended warranties. We had paid several $100s for a 2-year extended warranty on these phones. And they honored that. So I got a brand new iPhone 10 all set up. And it's great. Now, Walter did a little more research, as Walter does, and found out that maybe overcharging it. Like at night, I put my phone on my charger. I have one of those chargers, you know, that you just lay the phone on. You don't have to plug it in. Well, the charger has to be plugged in, but you don't have to plug it into the phone. The phone just sits on it. And I do that every night. Walter's suggestion is, from what he's read, is let the phone run down. Like oftentimes I've got 90% battery life left when I put it on there. So for now on, I'm not going to put it on every night. I'll wait till I get below 50% and then I'll put it on. And maybe that'll avoid the problem, if this is a problem. But you know what I said earlier? If there's a lemon in the pile, I will get it. And I did. But at least it was a painless transaction that I had to make. Cost me nothing to get the phone, a working phone. So that was a good thing. Oh yes, and we had our first guild meeting of the executive, which I'm now part of. I'm now secretary of the guild. And that was kind of interesting. And the old secretary could not, or past secretary, I should say, she's not old, past secretary, couldn't get rid of her secretarial materials fast enough to me. Here's the binders. Good luck. Bye-bye. So I took a look at her stuff. It was organized in sort of a way. Now, okay, I'm very super critical about organization, all right? I pride myself on being a very organized person. And people who know me probably figure I'm a little anally retentive when it comes to organization. I am a very, very organized person. So nobody meets my standard of organization, which sometimes gets me into trouble. But anyways, I spent a morning going through all the stuff, getting things set up. I have a computer dedicated to just executive stuff. Got everything going. So yeah, I'm well prepared for the next executive meeting in August when that happens. And I wanted to be more involved with the Quilting Guild, so I'm involved now as secretary. And it's a 2-year position. I have a feeling it could last a lot longer if, one, they like what you do, and two, if you want to carry on doing it. According to the past secretary, yeah, she was done with it. We'll see what that means. But anyways, yeah, I'm much more involved with the guild. And considering that this guild has one other man besides myself, and I have not seen him pretty much in the past year. I think he got a new job and it eats into his time with it. So here I am, a man island in a sea of women. We'll see how that works out. Okay, so what's coming up besides my lunch? No, I joke. Canada Day, as I told you, next Monday. And we've been invited to a party. Now, I'm excited. Now, you saw that I put together that table runner, napkins, and placemats and everything, and did them all up in a Canada bag as a host gift. But why am I excited? We don't go to parties. Not that we don't like parties. We just never get invited to parties. Well, you know, we're at that age where people don't have parties as much anymore. And I could do a whole rant thing about parties and stuff like that because, you know, we used to have dinner parties and things like that. And we'd invite people and they'd be here multiple times. And we'd never get a return invite. I don't know what that says about us. Maybe they hate our guts. I don't know. But anyways, we have been invited to this party, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, I only get out once a year to eat the tree. So, yeah, wow. This is going to be fun. So that's next Monday, right on Canada Day, July the 1st. Okay, so I think that's about it. I think today we are off, if Walter ever gets out of bed, to a place on the other side of Toronto that sells stained glass. They're going out of business. So Walter, as you know, he does do stained glass, although he hasn't done anything for a while. He wants to check it out, see if he can get some bargains on, you know, materials, because buying stained glass is expensive. And there's not a lot of suppliers of that around anymore. In fact, there's nobody. This is the closest to us, and now they're going out of business. So we're going to go off there so he can perusal the glass. So that'll be interesting. Plus, I don't know if I want to go or not. There's a great store not that far away from where we're going. It's called the Paper Shop, and they have like really nice papers and things. And you know, at one point in time I was a paper junkie. Now I'm a fabric junkie. So that's why I don't know if I want to go or not, because I have paper that I bought there years ago that I have never used. And I'm talking, this is very like, it's marbled paper, it's Japanese paper, it's paper that comes from Brazil. You know, it's very high quality, very nice. Too pretty to use. That's the problem. That's why it's probably sitting in a big basket all rolled up. So they have other things there too. Maybe. Parking is a bit of a problem where this place is located. So I don't know. We'll see. Of course, he is not out of bed yet, and it's 8:38 in the morning. Not unusual, because he's a night hawk. But we'll see. So I think that's it for me today. So do check out my blog. A vlog. This is a vlog. Written one is a blog. Okay. It's in the show notes below the connection. And yeah, I hope you have a great week. And we'll see you for Stephen and Walter Live Travel Edition on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, have a good week. Bye for now.